Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम
नमस्ते रघु जी।
नमस्ते। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्ख्यपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितदद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So namaste once again everyone and a very happy new year to all of you.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणि इत्युपधारय अहं कृष्णस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा. So in the 7th chapter we have entered the central and a very important topic of the Gita, the main theme of which is Ishvara Swarupam, the nature of God. And again, this is the main topic of discussion by Krishna in the Madhyama Shatkam from chapter 7 to 12. Well, later on we will see chapter 11 as Vishwarupa Swarupam. Then chapter 10, all his glories he will be explaining. And we saw that the first 3 verses of the 7th chapter, they were introductory verses. And in these verses, Krishna told Arjuna that Arjuna was going to understand, get knowledge of Ishvara Swarupam completely. That is knowledge of both the higher nature, Nirguna Swarupam, and lower nature, Saguna Swarupam. And in the 2nd verse, he said that he shall completely impart to Arjuna this Jnanam, referring to Saguna Ishvara Jnanam along with that Jnanam referring to Saguna Ishvara Jnanam and Vijnanam referring to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam. So Krishna has just, when he says Jnanam, he is referring to Saguna Ishvara Jnanam, Savikara Jnanam. And when he uses the terminology Vijnanam, he is referring to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam. and gaining which knowledge nothing more remains to be known in this life. In fact, it's so coincidental that I think in Mundaka Upanishad also we are seeing a similar message or similar teaching. And in the third verse, Krishna glorified this knowledge by saying that among thousands of human beings, a rare one strives for liberation. And even among those seekers who strive, a rare one actually comes to know Ishvara in reality. Then the actual teaching, entirely based on the Upanishadic teaching, began from fourth verse onwards. And in that context, we noted how the Upanishads present Ishvara as Jagat Karanam, the cause of the universe, in both aspects, in material cause as well as Upadana, that is material cause Upadana Karanam, and intelligent cause the Nimitta Karanam. So both the causes are woven into one, and therefore Ishvara is presented as Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. And therefore, the main idea Krishna wants to convey is that the entire cosmos is the manifestation of Ishvara, the evolved form of Ishvara. And that is why whenever we Vedantins talk about Ishvara or God, for us Ishvara is the universe, the universal order, which keeps the entire universe sustained in a very functional form. That is Ishvara for us. And when I learn to look at the very world as the manifestation of God, that vision is called Vishwarupa Darshanam. And this Vishwarupa Darshanam not only requires the understanding of this teaching, but also it requires inner maturity to learn to look at this very world as Ishvara's manifestation. And therefore, until we study this portion, that is the middle section of the Gita, our assumption is that God is a person sitting somewhere in Vaikunta, Kailasha, etc., Brahmaloka. And for us, Ishvara Darshanam means coming in contact with a personal God. Krishna wants to remove this idea from our mind. Krishna wants us to refine our understanding. He wants to present Ishvara Darshanam as nothing but the maturity to look at the very creation as Lord Vishwarupa. For Krishna is Krishna is preparing us right from the first chapter, that is right from the 7th chapter of the Madhyama Shatka. In fact, in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th chapters, Krishna prepares our mind. So that in the 11th chapter, we do not ask for the arrival of God, but we understand that God has already arrived in the form of Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jalam, Prithvi, etc. Thus, not only I should understand what is God, but I should reorient the mind to see the very world as God. So when I look upon God as a person, it is Eka Rupa Ishvara. Krishna does not want us to confine to Eka Rupa Ishvara. Krishna wants us to understand, expand our scope of understanding to understand God as Aneka Rupa Ishvara. So the entire Madhyama Shatkam of Gita is aiming at Aneka Rupa Ishvara Darshanam, Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam. And Krishna considers this Aneka Rupa Ishvara Darshanam as superior, because Ekarupa Ishvara or personal God is subject to arrival as well as departure. That God, if you take as Sri Rama, he was born after his father, he performed a Putrakameshti Yagam. Take Krishna as the personal God. He was born in the jail. So there is an arrival of these personal gods. And similarly, there is a departure also. Whatever arrives has to depart. So all these personal gods, like human beings, were born and they also vanished. And therefore, in Ekarupa Ishvara, there is a happiness of perception and there is unhappiness of separation also. And this is very beautifully highlighted in Bhagavata Purana, in the attitude of the Gopikas. In fact, they have got this Viraha Gita. It's also called Gopika Gita. The Gopikas, when Krishna arrived and he was playing his flute, they all were around him and dancing, etc. They were so happy. And then suddenly Krishna disappears. And all of them start crying. The only difference is they cried in some raga, talam, etc. When we cry, there is no shruti, nothing will be there. There will be only a big noise. And this is also very beautifully presented in the Bhagavatam. It says, Rurudah Suswaram Rajan Krishna Darshana Lalasaha. Ruruduhu means they cried. How did they cry? Suswaram. Melodiously they cried, but grief-stricken for Krishna Darshana Lalasa. For the darshanam of Lord Krishna. And because of their crying, Lord again appeared. Tasam Avirbhut Shauri Saumayamana Mukhambujaha. Saumyamana Mukhambujaha. With a smiling face. Pitam Bharadaraha Sragvi Sakshat Manmata Manmataha. So this beautiful Krishna with a smiling face appeared with all smiles. And again Krishna disappears and they all began crying again. Of course, we are not decrying that devotion. That's a wonderful devotion. Beautiful. It has got its own charm. It is not actually, it is even though presented as viraha, it is something very emotional, In fact, when you listen to the Bhagavatam Katha, there are many such places where we ourselves, while listening, become emotional. We become one with the Gopikas, rather. It is so absorbing. It's a great appreciation of Ekarupa Ishvara. But Krishna says that's all very good, but that is lower level of appreciating God. And therefore, Krishna wants to take us to a higher level, which is seeing the very world as Vishwaswarupa. And what is the advantage of such Ishvara Darshanam? The biggest advantage is there is no question of disappearance. Wherever I see, whatever I see, Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagate, Sarvam Shivamayam Jagate, Sarvam Devimayam Jagate, Sarvam Lakshmimayam Jagate. You can see Rama, Krishna, Devi, Tayar, everyone in everything that is there in the world. Only thing is you have to tune your attitude, tune your perception to that. And this Vishwarupa Darshanam is going to be presented And for that alone, Bhagavan introduces himself or God as Jagat Karanam. And then Krishna pointed out that this Jagat Karanam Ishvara consists of two aspects or amshas, amshadvayam. One is called Paraprakriti, the consciousness part, the Chetana amshaha, and another is called Aparaprakriti, the Achetana amshaha, the material part, which are the higher and lower nature. Para higher, apara lower. So consciousness and matter put together is Bhagavan, God, Ishvara. And how does this God evolve into the universe? Krishna said that it happens in two stages. In the initial stage, it is one para prakriti and one apara prakriti. Then in the intermediary stage, the apara prakriti divides itself into eightfold ashtada prakriti. And the para prakriti continues as one only. And then in the final stage, the eightfold apara prakriti becomes the manifold creation. And then also the para prakriti continues to remain one and the same. And in this creation, wherever you see the changing matter, you appreciate it as apara prakriti of Ishvara. And wherever you experience consciousness, which you can feel in your body, if you have any doubt, just touch your body. Do you feel the sensation? That sensation you are feeling because of consciousness. And because of consciousness alone, you are able to hear my words. That invisible inherent consciousness principle, because of which you are aware of everything in this universe, you are even aware of my words. That invisible, changeless awareness principle is Paraprakriti. The changing body-mind complex is Aparaprakriti. And then Krishna says, whatever is other than these two, that is the consciousness and matter, that belongs to you. That is not Ishvara. So you can take it and keep it with you. So the question is, what is there other than these two? And in fact, this alone is symbolized by the Mahabali story. I know, I'm sure that most of you would have heard the story of Mahabali Chakravarti. Bhagavan took Vamana avatar. With one step, the Lord measured the entire world. And this entire Bhumi world. Second step, he measured the entire Apara Prakriti, all the 14 lokas. So, Bhagavan covered the entire Apara Prakriti, including this Bhumi. And what is there other than these two? There is one very important thing. Your ego, ahankara. And that is the problem. That ahankara claims that this is my body, this is my mind, this is my property. These are my relatives. Nothing belongs to you. Everything comes under Apara Prakriti only, and it's all form of God. But because of our ego, our perception is blinded. And therefore, symbolically, Bhagavan asks, where do I keep the third step? And Mahabali says, put it on my head. Which means what? Means put your leg on my head and completely crush my ego. So Bhagavan takes the third step. and crushes the ego of Mahabali Chakravarti. That ignorance, the ego, just to indicate that there is nothing other than Bhagavan, other than God, other than Ishvara. So your ego is also part of Apara Prakriti only. And since it is part of Apara Prakriti, it is subject to coming and going. It has already come. You have the capability to make it go. And therefore, through this teaching, Krishna is systematically destroying the reality, the so-called reality that we attribute to the concepts of Jiva and Jagat. There is neither Jiva, the individual you, nor Jagat, the world, your possessions, your relations, etc. Krishna wants to emphasize this message that there is neither Jiva nor Jagat, only Ishvara is there. And that was what Pujya Swamiji's oft quoted remark. It is incorrect to say there is only one God. The correct statement should be there is only God, nothing else is there. And we have to learn to perceive that only God. Then in the 6th shloka he said, Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya. Same theme, that all things and beings have these two prakritis, that Ishvara has both material cause and intelligent cause as their inherent cause of the universe. And he said, Aham Krishnasya jagatah prabhavah pralayasthatha. Aham here is referring to the Ishvara. So Ishvara is the source as well as the ground of dissolution of this entire universe. And therefore, to sum up, God alone has evolved in the form of this creation. And thereby Krishna is actually revolutionizing the concept of God, which according to many not well informed people, God is a male entity sitting somewhere beyond the clouds. Because other religions refer to God as what? He. Only our religion, we have got even a personal God, we have got a he and she both. No other religion talks about God as a she. And according to them, that so-called he God, sitting somewhere in some, as I said in the last class, heaven or Jannat, etc., sits in judgment of human conduct. So Krishna says, do not look upon God as a person. Learn to look everything as my own manifestation. That is the manifestation of Ishvara. And the whole creation is a cyclical process, going from manifest to unmanifest, and then becoming manifest again. So it is cyclical process and not a linear process, as presented by the Darwinian concept of evolution. And now when we say evolution, creation, etc., most people are curious to know when did the whole thing start. Because for us, our curiosity is that only. We want to know the background of everything. How did this whole thing start? When did it start? That's what we want to know. It is not whether it is relevant for what we are pursuing or not. What are we going to gain by knowing when did it all start? It has already started. Right? And we have now understanding that the whole creation is a cyclical process. Where will you find out the starting point of a cycle, of a circle rather? Cycle or circle, whatever it is. If it is linear, a straight line, then with regard to that line, we can talk about a beginning and end, right? As they define in geometry, A line which is that which joins 2 points. So there's a beginning point and end point. But with regard to a cycle or a circle, you can never talk about beginning and end. And therefore, scriptures say we don't know when this process started, and don't ask that question. It is an eternal process. Anadi, Ananta, it will never end also. There is no end to this universe. All that will happen is it will go from manifest to unmanifest and then unmanifest to manifest. So the cycle will not end, but you can get out of the cycle. You can avoid, you can actually jump out of the cycle. And that is called moksha. And therefore Krishna says, Aham Krishnasya Jagatah Prabhavah Pralayasthatha. I am the source, the Utpatti Sthanam. Prabhavaha means Utpatti Sthanam or origin of the entire universe. And not only I am Prabhavaha, Tata Pralayaha. In the same way, I am also the resolution ground. I am the graveyard of this creation. The whole thing will come back to me alone. So I throw out, then I resolve. And in the scriptures, they give another example to assimilate this. Very simple example. It is exactly like our projection of the dream universe. If you can imagine the process of dream, out of your mind emerges the vast dream world, which has got not only creations or lokas, but you generate even time and space out of your mind. If you have not realized it, realize it. In dream, the time and space is not the same as the time and space that we experience during waking stage. We must remember that dream time is different from the waker's time. And that is why within a few minutes of the dream, according to the scientists, according to them, the dream actually lasts for only 1.5 minutes or something like that. They call it, rapid eye movement, REM, it is called. The longest dream also is only for a very short while. And at that time, the dream projections come. Where are these projections? They are all in our chittam and also in our subconscious, stored there. And when that dream state comes, they are just thrown up, arbitrarily. And that is why a lot of things are mixed up. And even when we are dreaming, we realize, oh, this particular place looks familiar to me. This person looks familiar to me. But then another part of our mind will say, I have never seen this person in my life. I have never seen this place in my life. But they are all looking familiar. Why? Because your dream is not just a projection of your experiences which are stored in your chittam of this life. There are so many vasanas, samskaras stored in your subconscious. It's a huge tetrabit, whatever byte, I can't even say how many bytes are there. So during that short period of time of dream, you get all this, you will find that whoever you are dreaming about, if it is you, you get married, have children, grandchildren, everything in just 1.5, 2 minutes. Of course, in the waking stage, probably this all can happen to some insects. But how can a human being have all these grand, even in cinemas, films, it takes 3 hours for all these things to happen. But in the dream, it all happens in just, 1.5, 2 minutes. So the dream time is different from the waker's time. And who created the dream time? You only created the dream time. Your mind created that time. Your mind created the dream space. And when you wake up, what do? You just swallow the whole thing. You don't even realize the importance of the dream, the significance of the dream. You are the Srishtikarta of that dream. You are the Stitikarta of the dream world. And you are also the Layakarta with regard to the dream, time, space, and objects. Similarly, God is Srishti, Sthiti, Layakarta of the whole cosmos. And therefore, Krishna says, I am the Srishti, Sthiti, and Layakaranam. I, Bhagavan, Ishvara, is the Srishti, Sthiti, and Layakaranam. This is the message of that 6th sloka. Now we will go to the next sloka. Mattaf parataram nanyate kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamitam protam sutre banigana iva. So he says, hey Dhananjaya, asti na anyat parataram kinchit mattaha sarvam idam protam mayi iva maniganaha. Hey Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, astina anyat, there is nothing other, no other. Parataram kinchit, cause at all. Mattaha, apart from me. Sarvam idam, all this. Protam mayi is strung in me. Iva maniganaha, like beads. Sutre in a string. So, O Arjuna, there is no other cause at all apart from me. All this is strung in me like beads strung in a string. Another very significant sloka. See, normally when we study the creation, we observe one law. And what is that? That every cause has got its own cause. If you take ourselves, our parents are the cause of our existence. We are products with regard to our parents. And our parents themselves have got a cause who are our grandparents. And with regard to grandparents, our parents become an effect or a product. Similarly, grandparents are themselves or effects with regard to great grandparents. So the general law is that we observed in every cause that every cause has got its own cause. And since we are observing this in the creation, if God is the cause of the creation, our question will be, who is the cause of God? Who are the parents of God? Krishna says, I am the parentless parent of this creation. I am the causeless cause of this creation because I am not the effect of anything. And that is the reason why we saw in the introduction itself that para prakriti is anadi, apara prakriti is also anadi, beginningless. And therefore their combination God is also beginningless. So God does not have anyone as the cause. Because suppose if indeed there was a cause for God, then what will happen? Our question will be, who is the cause of that cause God? We say that, okay, this whole para prakriti is the product of that cause, God cause. Who is the cause of that cause, God cause? Like that, we will go on, going back and back and back. and it will go into infinite regression. There will be no stopping point. And therefore, Krishna says, stop. He says, Matta anyat parataram kinchitna asti. Parataram means another cause. So, Arjuna, when it comes to me, there is nothing called effect other than the cause. It is just like there are no ornaments other than the gold. There are no furniture other than wood. There are no walls other than the bricks. There are no waves and oceans and rivers other than water. Then what are these ornaments, furniture, waves, etc.? Upanishad says, Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam. Ornament is only a name. There is no substance called ornament. Substance is gold. Similarly, river is only a name. There is no substance called river or wave. The substance of river, wave, or ocean is water. So there is no other cause for me. I am the ultimate cause. I am the absolute cause of the creation. Mattav parataram na asti. And now in the second line, he comes to a very important corollary. Because as I said, Bhagavad Gita is the condensation of all the important philosophical messages and ideas given in the Upanishads. Krishna is just presenting them as a teaching to Arjuna in his own words rather. Sometimes he actually borrows. When we come to some later chapters, but earlier also we saw he has borrowed exactly from the Upanishad. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Kathopanishad, he borrows some slight changes he makes. Same sloka, mantra there, same sloka here, second chapter. So these are all very, very important philosophical ideas which we have to absorb. So I said that God is the material cause of creation and therefore God alone has evolved to manifest as the creation. Now we have to remember the general law which I talked about. What is that? Material cause is inherent in all the products. And therefore, in fact, all products exist only because of the inherent material cause. And the classic example of the Shastra is that all earthenwares or pots exist because of the clay which is inherent in all pots. All the ornaments are existing only because of the inherent gold. Remove the gold from the ornaments. Of course, you cannot physically remove. You can, if you can cognitively remove the gold, there will be no ornaments. You can change the shape of the ornaments, but you cannot change the shape or quality of gold. Similarly, if you take out the inherent wood in wooden furniture, there will be no furniture. So Krishna says, I being the material cause of the creation, I am the Antaryami. I am the inherent principle because of whom the whole world is together. So beautiful it looks. Vividham bhavati. And Krishna gives an example. Just as a mala has got an inherent thread, which is keeping all the beads together. In fact, when you look at a mala, you will not be able to see the thread, which is, inside the beads. that is very, very, insignificant understanding should be there. The beads are inside the thread is inside the beads, but the thread is not attached to the beads. It holds all the beads together. When the thread gets broken, all the beads are scattered. So when you look at the mala, the beads are visible, but you know that within the visible beads, there is an invisible sutram. Sutram here means the thread. And because of that thread alone, the mala is there. Without that thread, they are all individual beads. There is no mala. And he says, similarly, I am inherent in this creation. So, sutre manigana iva. Just as the beads are threaded together by a string, similarly, the whole universe is threaded together because of this string called Bhagavan, God. And therefore, here Krishna wants to teach that there is no product other than the cause. And the Lord being the cause, the world being a product, Krishna wants to say the world is only a word. It's only a name and form. Remove the L from the word, then the world will be only a word. There is no substance called the world. It is only an appearance of its cause. Just like ornaments are just an appearance of its cause, which is gold. Then what is the substance of the world? Substance is only the cause, and that cause is Bhagavan. And he is the one who is actually holding this entire world together. And that is why Bhagavan is also called Sutratma. And that is what he is indicating in this sloka. So just as the thread is inherent in the entire mala, without the thread, mala cannot exist. Similarly, Bhagavan is the thread inherent in this creation. So that is the message of this sloka. As I said, very slowly is unfolding and taking hold of our hands. In fact, not even hands, our little finger, and guiding us through the process of changing our perception from Eka Rupa Ishvara to Aneka Rupa Ishvara. Krishna does it so beautifully. And it is so simple that all that you need to do is understand the slokas, understand the flow of thoughts, and you will reach there. Come to 11th chapter, you would have reached Aneka Rupa Ishvara concept. Understanding. So now the next sloka. Rasohamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurusham nrushu. He kaunteya, aham rasaha apsu prabha asmi shashi suryayoho pranavah sarva vedeshu. You can add asmi. Shabda ke paurusham nrushu asmi. Shabda ke asmi. Paurusham nrushu asmi. So asmi you can add to every comparison or every object he talks about. So he Kaunteya, O Arjuna, aham rasaha, I am the taste. Apsu, in water. Prabha asmi, I am the radiance. Shashi Surya Yoho, in the moon and the sun. Pranavaha asmi. Pranavaha means the Omkara. Sarva Vedeshu, in all Vedas. Shabdaha Khe asmi. I am the sound in space. Paurusham Nrushu. I am the manifestation of manliness in men. So as I said, we can repeat the word Asmi for each and every comparison or each and every explanation. So Arjuna, I am the taste in water. I am the radiance in the moon and sun. I am the Omkara in all Vedas. I am the sound in space. I am the manliness in man. So Krishna has started the process. Because it is easy to say, I am everything. Then you will ask, what do you mean by everything? Are you this? Are you that? I am sun and the moon. Oh, I understand you are sun and the moon. Are you the radiance in sun and the moon? Are you the heat in the sun? So like that, people will ask questions. So from this sloka onwards, Krishna slowly unfolds the individual items. Of course, he cannot cover the entire world, right? But he picks up some items. We have to, with our understanding, we have to actually, understand all other items coming in the similar family as Bhagavan's Swarupam. So Krishna wants us not only to understand this fact at the intellectual level. Because if that is the case, what is the use? I would have heard Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc., enjoyed the whole stories and teaching, fantastic. No change in my life. I will continue to be the same miserable jiva, fighting day and night, looking for happiness in small things. And when I get that happiness, thinking that, oh, that object has got a lot of happiness, so I should get more of it. I eat one rasagulla, very happy, very tasty. Not me, I am a diabetic patient. But okay, a person who can afford to eat rasagulla, very tasty. I want one more rasagulla, eat the second one, happy, happier. Third rasagulla, happiest. Fourth rasagulla, happier. Fifth rasagulla, happy. Sixth rasagulla, enough. Alam comes, enough. I can't eat more. There is no more happiness by having the sixth rasagulla, isn't it? So Krishna doesn't want that kind of happiness. Krishna says, not only you must understand all this, but you must also change your attitude accordingly. And any attitudinal change will come based only on understanding. If you have got love and reverence for your parents, how does it come? The more you think of the fact of what all things they have done right from your birth, you may not even know, but then when you see other children, other newly born babies, what kind of a trouble their parents undergo, what kind of sacrifices their parents do to, first of all, make the baby survive. Forget anything else. How much they have to struggle. They lose their sleep at night. Next day, they have to go to the office also. They can't say, oh, I got a baby, so I won't come to office. Of course, some of the corporations are very kind. They give some maternity leave, paternity leave and all that. But many people do not enjoy all those benefits. So night the baby will be crying. It has to be fed. You will lose sleep. Then these days, husband and wife, they share the responsibility. Once upon a time, only the mother used to do all these things. Father used to sleep happily with snoring sound. But nowadays, of course, the modern generation is much more fair and I would say, equal distribution of the responsibility. So both parents, how much they struggle. First 5 years of the baby, they have to be so careful to keep the baby alive, make it grow, feed it, at the right times, the proper things. Whenever the baby is sick, rush to the doctor, give it treatment. So much sacrifice they do. And then when the baby grows up, what is the question that the baby asks? what the hell have you done for me? This is the tragedy of the Kali Yuga. But if you understand all that, even if you have not understood it when you were a baby, but when you see other babies, other parents going through a similar process, irrespective of whether they were traditional thinking parents, modern thinking parents, doesn't matter. A baby is the most precious thing for any parents. So when you develop that attitude, reverential attitude towards the parents, it is because of the knowledge of how much they have done for you. And now it is your duty, your responsibility. You should do for them. When they are like babies, when they are struggling for their survival with so many diseases, old age, immobility, etc., it is your duty to care for them, take them to the doctor and things like that, administer medicine to them at the right times. Because they would have developed some kind of forgetfulness also. Doctor would have said you must take this medicine 3 times a day. One time they will miss. You don't come and shout, oh, you can't even remember taking medicines and all that. They can't remember. Understand that. Have compassion for your parents. Similarly, even when we meet a totally unknown person, where do we start with? We have no raga or dvesha towards that person. In fact, we have only audasina. Audasina means udasina bhavana. Neutral attitude towards any new person that we meet. And when we move with that person, when you come to know that that person is a man of principles, he has sacrificed so much, he is a freedom fighter, he is one of those responsible for our country to get freedom. And in that process, he has gone to jail, he has actually been away from his family, he has sacrificed his family, life, etc. He has done so much to society. Like you read the biography of Gandhiji or any such person, and because of which you gain that knowledge, then you develop reverence. If you do not know anything, you do not have an attitude at all. Therefore, remember, attitude is based on knowledge. And as you understand the world, so you entertain the attitude. And as your understanding of the world undergoes a change, correspondingly, there should be an attitudinal change also. Today, when I look upon the world as the world of objects, my attitude is raga or dvesha, likes and dislikes. But when I understand the world as Vishwarupa, the manifestation of God, then what is my attitude? Reverence. I go to a temple, I see a stone there. But I actually, with folded hands, I worship that stone because I have started looking at the world as everything in this world, both animate and inanimate objects, as manifestation of Ishvara, Bhagawad. That is the importance of going to the temples. And that is why we do puja with flowers and, this patram pushpam. Phalam toyam, we do puja with, we offer fruits and even water. Amritam upastaranamasi, we offer water. Why? If you do that with lot of awareness, each and everything, you are offering to God what He Himself is. In fact, I am reminded of one very beautiful Hindi bhajan. Forgetting the words, it will say, I am offering you to yourself what is there mine. There is nothing mine in this world. Start from the bhajana. No, it doesn't matter. If I remember, I will tell you. Teja tera tujko arpan kya lage mera. That's a Jai Jagdish Hare. There is one Arati song. Tera tujko arpan. What is yours? I am actually offering it to you. Nothing is mine. Attitudinal change. So, the basic teaching of Hinduism is reverence to creation as manifestation of God. In fact, you can spend your whole life to develop this reverence. Hinduism is full of prayers to develop this reverence. Rudram, which is supposed to be one of the most potent, beautiful prayers. What is Rudram? Many people think that Rudram has the highest philosophy, etc. No. Rudram is only Vishwarupa Darshanam. If you read the translation of Rudram, in fact, Puja Swamiji's book is there, translation of Rudram. If you read that book, very interesting. You will find that you are saying, I do Namaskara to Lord Shiva, who is in the form of mud. Muddhaya Namaha, who is in the form of leaf. And that also, two types of leaf, dry leaf and also fresh leaf. And you will find that lot of things in the creation is enumerated there. And then we are asked to look at everything reverentially. Similarly, when the sun rises in the morning, do not have the scientific perception, have a Vedic person's perception. Do not look at the sun as a matter principle. Even if you look at matter, it's not a problem. Now, what is matter? Matter is apara prakriti. So in Rudram, we find a mantra. Asavyastamro aruna uta babrusu mangala hai. Eche magum rudra abito diksha srita sahasra shovai sagum heda imahem. Beautiful. I do namaskaram to Rudra, which has got red color, yellow color, white color. At every stage, I reverentially worship the sun. Rudra in the form of sun. Asavyas tamro aruna uta babru sumangala. All these colors, the sun has got, the sunlight, as I say, Vibgyor, all 7 colors. So not only I see the sunlight as white, but I learn to see all the colors in that sunlight. Even though to my eyes they are not visible, but to my cognition they are visible. So while knowledge can be gathered immediately, but attitudinal change takes time. Like eating food is immediate. And especially these days, people are so busy. They finish off 1 dozen idlis in 2 minutes. Fast eating. Eating is simple, but if the whole thing should be digested, it takes hours. Similarly, we have got a twofold job. Understanding the teaching and also bringing about an attitudinal change, perspective change. And this project, this attempt, or whatever you call it, is divinization of the world. When the world is seen as the world, it will persecute you. It will create fear. It will disturb you. So the world as world will cause samsara. But the very same world as Ishvara will not cause any samsara. In fact, this is the very first mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasyam idagum sarvam. That's the first mantra. May you learn to look upon the very world as Ishvara Swarupa. Ishvara Bhavanaya Achadaniyam. Paint the world with Ishvara Bhavana. What a wonderful paint. Paint the world with Ishvara Bhavana. And therefore, Krishna says what you should do hereafter in this and the following verses. He asks you to bring about an attitudinal change. And we will see more in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all.
ధన్యవాదాలు గురుజీ.
Hari Om.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Dhanyawada, Guruji.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Namaskaram Guruji. Thank you.
Namaskaram. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. I think Ramuji's phone hand went up first, if I'm not wrong. So,
Yeah.
Ramuji, what is your
In the Rudram, it says Taskaranam Padaye Namaha. The Lord of the
Yes.
Stealers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, correct. I mean, if you know Rudra, understand the meaning, such a profound, that is why, even after sannyasi, they are not allowed to do anything else. But Rudram, they can chant. Sannyasis are allowed to chant Rudra. They can't do Rudra, this thing, what's it called, homam, etc. But they are allowed to chant because it is a meditation again. So you start meditating on the world as Bhagavan and then yourself as Bhagavan and your Nirguna Swarupam as Bhagavan. That is the whole process of spirituality. Yeah, that is true. So
That Purusha Suktam also.
Purusha Suktam also, yes. Purusha Suktam actually is a more, this thing is simple and more. Bhagavan is presented right from the beginning, in fact. Purusha.
And in the Chamakam also, it is not for you, you are asking all that. Give me that.
Correct,
It
correct,
is for
correct.
the benefit of others.
Yes. Yes. It's for benefit of, it's not a personal thing. Give everybody all these things. That is the, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, in one phrase, everything is there. All 300 items or so, which are very important for our living, all enlisted there.
323 or something is there.
Or 323 or something, yeah. Good, thank you. Yes, Girish ji.
Hari Om Guruji. I just wanted to comment on your example of Rasagulla eating. When it comes to sixth one, it becomes happy. If it is seventh one, it becomes hatred. And the eighth one, it will become anger.
Correct. And ninth one will take you to the doctor.
That is called a law of diminishing returns.
Law of diminishing returns.
True.
So,
And
that is the
also,
law of diminishing returns. We will not look for happiness from any worldly object. That is true. Very true. Anyhow, that's good.
and we chant Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmano. Oh, that is normally chant before we eating. But actually speaking, now we know that anything and everything is Brahma. Okay. But is there any specific reason why we are actually chanting before food? It's only a remembering.
No. Our eating, because this Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi actually applies to a homa or yaga that we do. So that when we are doing our attitude is this arpanam. Arpanam means the wooden spoon with which we pour the ghee.
Agree. Okay.
So arpanam is Brahma, right? And the ghee is Brahma, Havis is Brahma. That's a Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi.
Correct.
When we eat, what is the process of eating? We are actually doing homa for the Agni in our stomach, which is called Agni.
Okay.
Right? So that is why the eating itself is a process of doing a homa for ourselves, our Atma rather.
Okay.
So that is why you develop that attitude that this hand is Brahma, the food I am eating is Brahma, where it is going is Brahma, the stomach is Brahma. So you recall that mantra, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, or that sloka, and when you eat, you meditate on that sloka so that You are absorbing the message of the Upanishads even while eating. Don't look upon eating just as a merely eating and filling your stomach. There is a very significant aspect to eating also. And that is why before eating we pray, right? We do parisetanam, everything we do. And then all we are actually feeding to each and every faculty, pranaya swaha, panaya swaha, dhyanaya swaha, which are all the internal mechanism for digesting, circulation, everything we bring into that eating one that is one activity. You
Okay.
just start looking at eating as if you are doing a Atma Yaga, rather. Doing to, you are offering, because the food is the havis you are offering to the Jataragni, which is also a Atma only, which is also Brahman only. So that is the attitude with which you should eat.
Right.
And that is why when we eat in Gurukulam and Ashramam and all, they chant Brahmarpana.
Correct.
So don't look at eating, oh, is this has got protein, this is carbohydrate and all. Don't look at it in that manner. It is a havis you are offering. That is how you have to understand.
It's a short form of the 12 yajnas discussed in the 4th chapter.
Yes. All the yajnas that he discussed, as Ramuji says in the 4th chapter, it is the eating, you bring all that ideas at the time of eating and remember the teaching. See, when you get this teaching, what you are expected is at every moment of your life, everything that you keep recalling that teaching, because everything is connected to that. You cannot isolate anything from that. So that is the whole purpose of, and that is what spiritual journey is all about.
Please.
That is what it is.
Thank you very much, sir.
Grateful is the attitude that makes you grateful.
Ramuji is great, he actually called a wordsmith. He actually creates beautiful words and beautiful, what I would say,
Walking encyclopedia.
Same alphabets, a different meaning is. Ramuji is very great. He sends me a lot of that. I really enjoy reading.
True. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hariom. Thank you. So no more questions?
Hariom.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad. So we can close the session, I think, because nobody is asking any other question.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.